Hi, this is now take 17. I feel like I've been recording this for most of my life. Apparently none of you want to hear a 2-hour epic from me having to nip off for ice cream and popcorn. I find that quite rude, actually. So here I am on take 17, bringing to you Colossians 3. And the reason it was taking so long, let me just say, is because this is such a fantastic passage and there's so much to say about it. But I'm just going to focus on one thing. So as a quick overview of the chapter, if you have chosen to accept Jesus, all the things that tied you to the world, all the sin and the stuff that combines you, that tries to trip you up, it no longer has a hold on you. But you have to intentionally avoid those things and choose to behave in a way that reflects Jesus rather than who you were. So we shall just focus, rather than doing the 2-hour epic, we shall just focus on this idea of bearing with. Now, because God loves you, you need to be more like him. He's chosen you to be holy after all. But being holy, and part of being holy, means that you've got to bear with one another in love. What? I hear you scream. No, I can't hear you scream, actually, because you're not in the room. But if you were in the room, I would hear you scream. And I would say it's okay, because it doesn't mean that you have to tolerate bad behavior. It does mean, however, that you have to put up with the weaknesses of people, even the people you don't find it easy to like, because, newsflash, you are not the center of the universe. It means you need to be aware that everyone is struggling with their own stuff and has their own conflicts to deal with. Bearing with people, being understanding, patient, kind, and compassionate, it isn't an option for you if you say you're a Christ follower. Paul doesn't simply encourage us to bear with people, but he actually instructs us to do it, because he knew that when we do, we bring into being a loving and healthy community. And Paul knew those actions reverberate and they create health in ourselves as well as in others. And when we do all these things, then we're pouring out of the love that Jesus has placed inside of us. Now, broadly speaking, there are two groups of people. There are those people we like and those people we don't like. But it gets worse, because so often we put a label on people and we don't even think of them as individuals. We just objectify them and make judgments about them. And perhaps that's even happened to you. Perhaps people haven't seen you as you, but they've made assumptions about you and they've popped you in a box, put a label on the box, plopped you up on the shelf and left you there. Or maybe you've done that to someone else. You've seen the mum struggling at the supermarket with a child who's having a tantrum, and maybe you've assumed that she's a bad mum because she has a naughty child. Well, I was that mum. Or maybe you caught sight of a group of teenagers and you just assumed that they were up to no good. You didn't really see them, not for who they were, but you just looked and assumed. And so I have to ask, do we really see the people who God sees, the people in our communities, in our schools, in our workplaces, in our churches? Or are they just inconveniences that we have to get past on our way to where we're trying to go? If we really want to impact the world in the way God created us to do, if we truly want to bear with one another on our journey of holiness, then we've got to really start seeing people. Jesus said the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. But he also said that the second greatest commandment is as important as the first. And that is that we love our neighbours as ourselves. Now, you can't do that if you don't see them, if you overlook them, if you're not connected to them. I think there's a lost and broken world that is saying something like, hey, Christians, if what you say about your God is true, if God is loving and kind, then why do you treat people so badly? Why don't you get along together? Why don't you just see one another and love? Why do you overlook one another and leave one another out? And then they might ask, why don't you see me? Why don't you love me? People will always hear what we show them rather than what we say. Our heart should break for what breaks God's heart. He knows relationships are hard, and yet he still asks us to have them. He knows that we will get hurt and bruised and offended, but he calls us to have his heart for people. And you will never be moved to action without compassion. Now, Jesus represents compassion continually in the Gospels. His miracles came out of a heart of compassion. And I wonder if we're not seeing the miracles that we want to see in the church because we don't have the compassion that he had. I suggest if we have the heart of God to reach out to people in compassion, then he will move in his power and then we will see miracles. Christianity, though, isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's about heart transformation. By loving and serving, by forgiving one another and overlooking one another's weaknesses in grace, you can bring about transformation in someone's life in the deepest ways possible. People are desperate to be seen and to be known and to be valued. Honestly, I think some of the craziness that we see in the world, especially on social media, is because people simply want to be seen, for someone to say that they're amazing. Some of the things that they're uploading, I see stuff and read stuff from people who I love, people who matter to me. And these are people who are simply saying, please see me. Please know. So imagine the difference that you and I could make if we began recognizing the people around us and let people feel the compassion and the love and the mercy of Jesus. We're his hands and feet. We need to show people that they matter. And we can only do that if we engage with people, and people are longing for engagement, not judgment, not well-meaning advice, just connection and kindness and understanding. And when I say people, I'm not just talking about people outside of our church community. I'm talking about the familiar faces from Sundays, if you remember those times, or church support groups, people we have known for years and some that we've only just met recently. So many of the difficulties that we encounter and the conflicts that try to engage us can be abated by just looking in the eyes of that person and us deciding to be the peacemaker in that situation, to say, I see the humanity in you. You know, when we bear with others, it's such a gift to them. When we see their humanity, when we deal with them in humility, in gentleness and patience, we are profoundly blessing them. And I understand that frustration where you feel you can't make a difference, but doing nothing when we feel we can't do everything just isn't an option. Do for the one what you want to do for everyone. Start with the one and then watch those ripples go. And when we bear with others, we give a gift to ourselves. It enlarges our capacity to be better people by swiping aside bitterness, and instead it creates a space for love. I encourage you to practice these gifts and notice the impact on them and on yourself too. I can hear some of you, I can't hear anybody saying because there is no one here. I can imagine some of you saying, but Rachel, I'm exhausted. It's true, isn't it? I've got nothing else to give. I work so hard. I'm done in. And that has a name. It's called compassion fatigue. You see it a lot, especially in this current season. But let me say, if we don't have Christ's compassion, we're not going to be able to do the works of Jesus in the world. I think some of this fatigue is a plan of the enemy to attack us en masse, to take us out, to stop us from stepping out into a lost and a broken world, to stop us bringing courage and transformation. And that includes our own church. Let me tell you that the devil gets very, very nervous when the church is full of compassion and starts to bring change and transformation to the world. And it starts with the one. We need to tenderize our hearts again. Let that be our prayer. Church is so important. Worship and the word and fellowship are absolutely crucial. Please hear me. If you have been disappointed and discouraged, if you have pulled back from church, I want to encourage you to give it another shot. There's something about being in a community of believers who worship together that you can build relationship with and encourage you in your faith, that's Christian self-care. If you take yourself out of the word, out of worship, out of community, you're a walking target for the enemy. There's safety in a community of believers where you can grow in the things of God. And in those things of God, there is rest, a rest which you so desperately need, so that you can give out of a heart of compassion rather than nurturing exhaustion, which breeds resentment. So finally, let me say this. When we bear with one another, God blesses us. I'm not suggesting that we're only in it for what we can get out, like a child emptying the dishwasher just so that they can get their pocket money. No, what I am saying is that God blesses us when we just do it anyway. He's instructed us to bear with one another's weaknesses and to be tolerant of those who are hurting and who will inevitably hurt us. If you're serious about this Jesus following business, you'll find ways to bear with one another like you never thought possible. And so, to finish from Colossians 3, you are always and dearly loved by God. So robe yourselves with virtues of God, since you have been divinely chosen to be holy. Be merciful as you endeavor to understand others, and be compassionate, showing kindness to all. Be gentle and humble, unoffendable in your patience with others. Tolerate the weaknesses of those in the family of faith. I have a ton of weaknesses, and I need you all to be very tolerant, forgiving one another in the same way you have been graciously forgiven by Jesus Christ. If you find fault with someone, release this same gift of forgiveness to them. For love is supreme and must flow through each of these virtues. Love becomes the mark of true maturity. Bless you guys.